Today we'll be cleaning up this 18 volt Hitachi circular saw. Well, welcome back to the mini workbench. On the bench is a new tool. Not so new. New to the mini workbench, but not new. This is a Hitachi C18 DSL battery powered 18 volt circular saw, and it's got a few little problems, but essentially it was a very cheap purchase, so I'm very happy with it. Paid probably about try to estimate because it came with a battery as well, so probably the tool itself, take out the battery, this probably cost me $60. So I'm very happy with that because these are 350, 360 brand new at the moment. There's a few problems. Obviously it's used. I don't think it's been used by a tradie because it's got its original Hitachi blade in it. Doesn't mean everything. The blade's got a couple of teeth where the tungsten tips come off. So the blade itself is, that's essentially now a hack blade in a sense, but this will only be doing fairly outdoor work. It won't be doing any fine woodworking, let's put it that way. Couple of little problems, apart from it just being dirty and a bit scratched around. There's nothing bent or broken, so I'm very happy about that. This cover plate here, or this plate here is loose. It's double-sided stickiness has come off, and I probably will take the opportunity to paint that. But I'm not so sure about how to deal with this silk screened on section, so I'm not sure whether I'll make a slide decal there and then spray over it with a clear lacquer or what. So I haven't worked out, but I think that definitely needs painting because that'll just spiffy it up. It definitely needs a good clean all over, bit of grime on the handle and whatnot. And apart from that, it's pretty good. It certainly works, not a problem with that. And of course, the other thing that's a little problem is we're missing the depth adjustment. So that's actually a relatively easy fix because that looks like a square hole, and putting a round bolt in a square hole is something that we can do, utilizing a cup head screw. So I'll use part of shorten one of these M6x40s that I have, and that should sit up nicely. The threads in these ones go right to the end, so that should sit up nicely in there. And I've got an M6 knob off something else, a leftover that I'll use. So that won't look perfect, but that'll be that. So I might give it a bit of a. I'm tossing up whether to actually paint it. Paint some of this sheet metal just to spiffy it up. But it doesn't need it, it just needs cleaning, and it works, so I'm very happy with this purchase. So here's a couple of close-ups. It was sold in what was described as okay condition, but and to me this is actually pretty good condition, having seen quite a few online. Generally these buttons down here tend to blow out and be a hole rather than a button, and these rubberization on here often is broken out. You can see there's a little bit of chafing there from a few knocks on the top, but it's just a bit grimy, so we'll clean that up. A little bit of dust down there. The blade itself it's got some surface rust. I may clean that softly, probably with just a little bit of acid. I don't want to, or vinegar. I don't want to get rid of the original Hitachi, who are they? Markings. So there's the original Hitachi blade markings. I don't want to just scrape them off with steel wool or anything, so we'll just see what we can do with the blade. There's quite a few scratches and dings on this plate here. You can actually buy this plate as a spare part, but it's $40 odd. Just for that piece of plastic. So I could leave it as is, or I could make it just nice and shiny by putting I've got some nice aluminium paint. And here's the replacement knob that I was mentioning before that I put on. And although I don't like that particular star knob, it's fully functional, so I'm not going to change that. And that's with that shortened coach screw, sorry, not coach screw, cup head bolt put in there. So general cleanup is the main thing. I'm still tossing up whether to paint this bottom plate, because I just think that that might make it a little bit more agreeable. Okay, well the first thing we're going to work on is this cover plate here. There's quite a few scratches and scrapes. If you can see on this angle, these are all scuffed and scratched, and that's really just what I want to get rid of. Decision at the moment is just to mask this off. Haven't yet determined what I'm going to do about that. It will look pretty ordinary against nice fresh paint around here, but we'll cross this bridge when we get to it. I may even just do a little bit of touch up with a marker pen, but let's first get some silver on here. Now to do this, I'm first going to give it a light rub with a fine sandpaper, maybe 250 or maybe even 500 grit. We'll just see how we go, maybe one after the other. Okay, well there we go. There's a little bit of light work with an old 240, and I might just now come on with a much finer 500 just for a gentle. I don't want to leave anything. It could be painted now, but I don't want to leave anything. I haven't gone down to nothing in many of these spots. So there's a few little nicks and marks, but there was a big scratch here that I took a fair bit more off. And in this groove here, I don't think I'm going to be taking those out, but that's smooth to the touch through there. So pretty happy with that so far, and I think that's going to look better once we get a bit of paint on it. I may give it a light coat of an undercoat, a primer, and then hit it with the aluminium paint that I've got. There we are, we're up to the first application of primer, very light spray of primer, and the masking there, you can still see the blue through, the colouring through, so that's how light the primer is. So just enough to protect the plastic. The silver paint I've got, the aluminium paint, is a epoxy enamel top coat, and it's meant for metal, but it does say you can use it on top of a primer, so that's what I intend to do. And that, if it comes out like that lid, then that'll be perfect. Okay, well there it is after a very light coat and then a second slightly wetter coat of that aluminium paint, and I think it looks fantastic. You can still see the remnants of some of the deep scratches there. I'm not going to touch it because it's still wet, but you can still see the remnants of some of the deep scratches, but it's looking a lot better than what it was a couple of minutes ago. So we're very happy with that so far. So we'll just set that aside, let that cure. Yep. Let that cure, and then we'll refit it in the morning. And there's just a quick shot of it with the masking removed. You can see that that's come up quite nicely. In contrast between the old and the new there is rather stark, but I'm very happy with that at this stage. You can see here I went ahead and removed the dust port cover, vacuum cleaner cover, and given that a light spray with, in fact in this case, an automotive black that I had left over from a guitar build. So that's another piece that after a little bit of sanding to flatten it out and get rid of a lot of scratches and chips that were in that, that's now ready to go back on. Just a little piece of trim to neaten up this old saw. And here's a look at those parts just sitting on there, replaced the new knob. So things looking a little bit shinier and a little bit neater, and that's a good result. Now the next simple thing I'm doing is giving it a bit of a clean over. And you can see here on the green plastic grip sections that on this side of that line, you can see I've given it a clean, and on the other side you can see that I haven't cleaned it yet and it's still looking pretty scruffy. So I've just used a mild sort of detergent based, I think it is, household cleaner, not getting it very wet, and just wiping it with a paper towel, and the grime and muck comes off pretty quickly, and you get a nice result. So this tool will end up being just nice and clean, ready for me to mess it up over the years of my ownership of it. Okay, well here's our technique for cleaning. We've got just a shallow tray that I've made from a piece of cardboard, not sponsored. We're just going to do a cleaning job on this blade for no real reason apart from it doesn't look great, and I want it to look like this. So we'll just see if our technique works here. shallow bath technique. I'm not going to fill this at all. I'm just going to overlay some paper towel, two layers of paper towel, and then pop some vinegar on. So we'll drench the paper towel with vinegar. Nice. In fact, probably should. There's a little bit of surface rust on this. What I might do is put that under that layer there, in the middle. All right, that's drenching that. The whole blade is pretty drenched. And we'll add some more because vinegar is so cheap. And then we'll just leave that for a couple of hours and come back and see what it's up to. Okay, and for the grand reveal, let's see what this looks like underneath. Oh, we've got some lines. I think that's from that ridge there on the material. Alright, it's done a good job so far. We might need to wipe it down with some paper towel, which I had just a second ago. Here it is. Let's see what comes. Oh, look at that. Yes. This is just paper towel. This is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to have to scrub this with anything more severe. So this has worked beautifully. Just a nice clean blade. And there's our Hitachi details coming out. Very happy. Get this rubbed off. Not perfectly clean, but very happy. A lot cleaner, and that was the objective. Let's give that a wipe with this. Oh yeah, I forgot that I've still got the keeper plate or whatever it's called. Let's tear that out of there. Oh, look at that. It's got no colour on it now. Interesting. Took the black off it. We may need to spray paint that black again to match. It doesn't really matter, but it's not on the floor. Alright, very happy. Nice clean blade. Super result. Well, here we are with the finished product. Maybe almost finished. I haven't resprayed the base, but I've cleaned up the handles, got the grime off it. They're nice and bright now. I've sprayed this and with an aluminium silver. I actually took this off and sanded it flat and sprayed it. There's a few big chunks out of this, so that looks good. We've repainted the center keeper, and we've also cleaned the original blade. As I said, I haven't done the base here. So anything in the light grey, in that dark grey, I've just washed and cleaned. So the whole tool is basically very much closer to new compared to what the okay condition it was in when I received it. So that's a good result. I'm very happy with that. Just a few close-ups of much cleaner looking parts here. Very happy with how this has turned out. Freshly painted there, freshly painted here, cleaned up the blade, and we've got some nice shiny, some nice shiny silver on there. So very happy with how that's turned out.